Welcome to Bop DJ. My name's Jamie Hartley from Crossfader, and today we're going to take an in-depth look at the brand new intro controller from the partnership that's Roland and Serato. Let's check out what this controller's all about.
Firstly, this controller comes with the Serato DJ intro software. There is the option to upgrade to the complete version of Serato DJ, unlocking various performance features, which we'll look at a little bit later. The Roland DJ-202 has all the basic features you would expect to see on a controller of this size. If we just quickly load a track, we can use a browse pot up here and then load left and right with the buttons. We've got up faders, crossfader as standard, a 3-band total kill EQ, filter for each channel, high pass and low pass, and a trim for extra volume control. Down the center of the mixer, we've got the master level, headphones level, headphones mix for introducing the master into the headphones for beat matching, and then the sampler level, which we'll look at a bit later. Moving on to one of the biggest standout things for this controller for me, and that is the jog wheels. They're really nice and quite heavy. They're really responsive as well when in vinyl mode for scratching. As soon as you touch the top, they're very touch sensitive, which is really nice. They've got a nice bit of weight to them. As you can see, if I spin it, it doesn't run away from me, allowing me to keep in control when nudging and trying to keep in time. Along the top, we have access to various effects built into Serato DJ Intro. If you have a look on the screen, we can access a various number of effects, as you can see here. Then, to turn them on, we literally just select on the controller and then turn the level up and down. We can combine effects and even change the beat fraction by holding Shift and then moving the level to change that beats multiplier. To the right of the effects, we have the tempo adjust. Now, it is quite small, but it's as expected. Most intro controllers have a tempo adjust about this size as well. So it's just a matter of getting used to it and being able to match up the BPMs. If you're struggling to match up the BPMs, there is also the sync buttons, which synchronize 2 decks, and also allow you to synchronize to the sequencer, which we're going to look at shortly. Moving on, there is a shift button to access a secondary layer of features underneath this controller. Anything that is labeled in a grey box, like here, the range, which allows us to change the tempo range from 8 to 16 to 50%. There are also different options underneath certain features, like to be able to turn the sync off and select different effects. Now moving on to the performance pads. These are rubber pads. They've got a bit of a click to them. And we've got 3 different performance modes and then the sequencer mode, which I'll get onto shortly. The 3 different modes are hot cue, loop, and sampler. For hot cue, we can set up to 4 different hot cues throughout the track. We can delete using Shift and then pressing that same pad. Underneath, on the bottom layer, we have the manual loop settings, in, out, exit, and then we can activate the loop on and off. Better than that though, we have the auto loop options within this mode. 1 beat, 2 beats, 4 beats, and 8 beats. Press again to deactivate. In the sampler mode, we can activate one-shot samples. If you have a look on the screen, the samples can be accessed here within the software. And it's a case of just dragging and dropping samples into that bank. This, however, leads us on to the most unique and exciting part of this product. Moving on to the sequencer mode, this is where it starts to get interesting. In the Roland DJ-202 are built-in TRS drums. Now, they're under the hood, and it's quite complex to try and get your head around how they work, but I'm going to break down each different mode. There's a few different layers to this sequencer and pattern mode, so I'm going to break it down. We can actually access the TRS drums and also the Serato DJ sample bank to program into a sequence. To do this, press sequencer once, and then press it again so that the sequencer button is flashing green. Now, we can just check out the different TRS drums. If we hold Shift, there are 2 different modes, parameter 2 and parameter 1. The TRS drums are in parameter 2. All of these 8 pads now will play a different drum sound. These are the 8 different TRS drums that we have access to in the Roland DJ-202. To program them, we would go back onto sequencer, and then we can start the sequence by pressing the start-stop button here. And you'll notice the light travels across the 8 different pads on each side, as long as you've got the sequencer pad mode highlighted on both sides. Now, what these different layers equate to are the 4 different beats of a bar. We've got beat number 1, beat number 2, beat number 3, beat number 4. So to select one of the drums to program in, press Shift, and then choose which drum you want to highlight. So I'm going to choose the hi-hat, which is in pad number 3 here. When I let go, I can then program the hi-hat in by just tapping the pads. Now I could choose a different drum by pressing Shift, the first pad as the kick, and we're just going to create a simple 4x4 beat. Hold Shift, press the snare, layer the snare in. Now if I wanted to play some drums in live, I could press the sequencer button again so it's flashing, and you'll see the ones that I've programmed are actually flashing in time to the beat that I programmed. Now the ones that I haven't programmed, I could just play in live. If I decide I don't like one of them, I can hold Shift and then just press any of the pads and it deletes that pattern for me to re-record in. If you then decide you want to add in some samples from within Serato DJ, we can hold Shift, press parameter 1, and then do exactly the same process, choosing the pad we want to add in, and then sequencing it in using the pads. Once we've created a drum pattern, we can then sync that up to one of the playing decks. For example, if we've got a track playing, we can then set the sequencer off by syncing it up. And it will play along in time with the track. This will also emulate if we change the tempo of the track, it will still keep in time. If you decide to upgrade to the full version of Serato DJ, you now have the option to record your sets with the record option here. There are various extra effects that we can choose from. Anything on the controller that is outlined with a single line are extra features that are unlocked within Serato DJ complete version. So for example, if we press Shift and now hot cue, it'll do a cue loop. So when we press the cue, it jumps and loops that from that cue point. If we press Shift and the loop, it accesses the roll feature, allowing us to roll loop certain parts of the track. There's also the option to access Deck 3 and Deck 4 in the complete version of Serato. However, I will say it's a bit fiddly to be able to mix in Deck 3 and 4 because you basically have to bring the fader down of one of the channels and then back in to activate the channel that's layered underneath.
Okay, my favourite things about this controller, well, number 1 are the jog wheels. They're slightly larger than the other intro controllers around this price bracket, and they feel great. If you are into learning to scratch or anything like that, they're very responsive. They're slightly heavier than a lot of other intro controllers as well, so that's number 1. Number 2, it's got to be the inbuilt TRS drums. The fact that you've got the TRS drums inbuilt into this controller underneath that pad mode is amazing. It's a nice introduction into music production, to performing live with DJ equipment, and to have it on an intro controller, it's not really been seen before that much, so that's number 2. Price. Okay, it comes in at £259. Now, for that price, I think you're getting a lot for your money. This controller would be perfect for new DJs who want to eventually do a little bit more with their sets. So if you're brand new to DJing, it comes with the Serato DJ intro software, which makes life a lot easier to learn to DJ. It strips back to the basics, which is great. But then you've got the added TRS drums that you can start implementing into your mix and making your set stand out a little bit more. This is a great intro controller. I've had so much fun playing on it. Make sure to check out bopdj.com for this product and many more. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.